Welcome everyone to the Pro Trade Room Plus and the FOMC Statement. My name is Lee Goldstein, the Trading Director for 10-Minute Trades. Please remember, I'm not a financial advisor. All trades are for educational purposes. Let's get started. All right. Welcome everyone, and thanks for joining. Give me a heads up. Well, you've given me a heads up, so I know you can hear me. So this is the moment everyone's been waiting for all day, all week. I don't have to say over and over again that this is a risky event. Margins are raised by the brokers. That always means it's riskier. Now, we do like our setup. Our setup has been a good setup for a very long time. The trap trade on the ES has had a very long period of being a safe event. Everybody knows what can happen, though, with a trap trade. If the market has an explosion in one direction and keeps moving in one direction only, then that is an enemy to the trap trade. Now, we also have had an NQ breakout on this trade. So first things first, let's look at the DMM, the trade report. One second. Let's look at the trade report. When the NQ works well, it's usually an incredibly big move. In June, it was 196 ticks. And then it reversed over 300 ticks. In May, it was a 240 tick whipsaw. That's pretty insane. In March, it was a 105 tick whipsaw. And that's what can happen in this event on the NQ. You can have a gigantic move that completely reverses itself. And then we had two really nice winners in a row. January, it was over 200 ticks. It also did a quick reversal, but it hit the targets first. And then in December, it had a huge spike of over 200 ticks again. And it almost always does a quick reversal. So you can figure it's going to reverse. The real question is, will it hit our targets before it reverses? Will you even be able to take a breakout in a prop account because of the speed of the market? So there's a bunch of issues that come into play in a prop account. It's possible that the market won't be able to fill the orders properly on a breakout. So you want to keep that in mind. If you're going to trade this report with full-size instruments, I think you want to be fully prepared that an account could blow up. Now, if an account blows up, is life going to end? Generally not, because a lot of these accounts, if it's not a funded account, then it's only costing, $20 a month. You really have to think hard if you want to trade this kind of an event in a funded account at the exact moment of the news. Certainly as a breakout, you have to really think about that, because it's a terrible shame if a trade would have worked but for the fact that you just didn't get the data feed to work properly, because that's what sometimes happens in events such as this. So that's one nice thing about the trap trade. Most of the time, a trap trade is not so fast that you have to worry about getting filled. What's nice about a trap trade is you're often getting filled, you're always getting filled in the opposite direction that the market is going. And that's usually when you see a fill in a fast breakout, when the breakout changes direction, even if only for a couple of moments. So those are all issues that come into play. So we have two setups. The NQ breakout, as of late, has been a 50-50. It's had 3 winners, 3 losers out of the past 6 events. And sometimes this event can be so fast that one person could have a winning trade and another person could have a not winning trade because of the way they got filled. It's really possible that you could have different things happening even when people use the same setup. It can happen. Now, I'll tell you, Nitin, that instrument will move on this report. So Nitin is saying he's going to try the 6J for this event. My only negative on the 6J is that it's not a high volume, not a high volume or volatility instrument, right? If you look at the 6J real quick, just out of curiosity, now you got me a little bit curious. Go to new market analyzer. I'm just curious, what's the daily volume on the 6J up to right now? So I haven't looked at the 6J. We used to trade the 6J all the time. And I liked trading the 6J. One interesting thing about it uh, was that it would move in the opposite direction of the indexes, the Dow, the SP, S&P, and the the MNQ, NQ. So if the 6J is not in your instrument list, go to Tools, go to Instrument List, click on Futures, so you put it in the Future folder, click on Add, and then type 6J space 09-25, hit Return. That'll put the 6J into your instrument list. It'll now actually be the first instrument on your list. And now when I load my market analyzer, 6J will be the first instrument I add. And actually the volume's much higher than I would have thought. It's got really good volume. I think it's perfectly fine to trade it. I think it's got a higher volume than quite a few of the indexes. Not the ES. It's probably got higher volume than gold. Oh, they're close. Very, very close. Okay. I think it's a good choice, Nitin. It's an interesting instrument to trade. All right, everyone. Just take a look at what happened last session. I don't say last month. This is not a monthly report. The Fed does this 8 times a year. There's not a chance, there's not even the most remote chance in any world, any universe, anything, there is not even the most remote possibility that the Fed will change rates. It's not even remotely possible today, in my opinion. I do not think they will change the rates. No one thinks they'll change the rates. If they do, it'll blow the trap trade out of the water, probably. So if we go back to June, that was the event. We traded the trap and we watched the NQ. And the trap It missed our fill by one tick initially, and we just waited. It wound up going right back to the fill, if I remember correctly. I'm positive we got filled. There's the fill. It took 19 seconds, and then it chopped a bit. It went against us a bit, not all that much. And then it started reversing. That's what we want from a trap trade. We want to get filled, and then we want a change in direction, a big change in direction. And we make our profit in the change of direction. It chopped around quite a bit last month or in June. It was last month, but and then it really had a very, very, very nice reversal. And that's how you make money in a trap trade. And then the NQ had a pretty big burst. And that was in Sim. So Sim, I don't try to guess what my fills would have been. I just like to watch it. We also watched the MES. This is the kind of report you can get a breakout for all, where everything seems to break out in one direction, moves in one direction really nicely, and then changes. Breakout for alls are always very interesting. The ES just made a new high. So, right, I'm going to put my trap trade on the chart. I fully accept the risk that this anything can happen in this trade. I'm going to trade it in a pretty new prop account. I don't want, I want to just trade it in an account that's flat in case it's gigantic one way or the other. I want the trade to just stand on its own right now. So I'm going to trade it in number 15, which is a fairly new account. Right click the chart, click on strategy, click trap trade. We're going to trigger the event 13:59:55. The stop is 25. Hang on, I'm just hearing some news in my headset. All right, then we've got tier 1. We have 35 ticks. I'm actually going to make that 32 ticks. And then tier 2 is 55. 32 and 55. Labeling it trap ES. Apply it, okay it. All right, so our trap is ready. When you enable a trap trade, don't forget all the buttons that you get. The break even button at the top. You get close the trade button, right? Close the trade. You get adjust the tiers, which we don't use anymore. Cancel the outer tier. I will talk through the trap trade like I always do. Um, if you only get filled on one order, The cancel the outer tier is an extra order that didn't get filled, and it gets removed if you want to move your stop to safety. And then the combine button, which combines two orders into one if you get filled on both. So our trap trade is ready to go. I will put on a after the trade reverse continuation on the ES, an extra strategy on the same chart. Reverse continuation, just one position, but we'll do it for 60 ticks. And we'll use a stop of 25 ticks. And that's just a potential reversal, continuation, scalp. And we'll label that ES, reverse continue. Check the account that it's in, and then that's two possible ways to trade this event on the same chart. All right, and then one of the highest risks methods to trade this is a breakout. I'm just simming the breakout. I'm just concentrating on the trap trade. It's potentially a great profit. It's potentially a big loser. If you get a good reversal, it's a nice winner. The NQ breakout, and you can use the MNQ on the breakout also if you want to. I think the same risks apply. I think there is a real issue of data feed orange orders that are a problem. So this is the kind of report that you can certainly trade it after the news also. Right click the chart, click on strategy, the breakout, and the NQ is 1359.59. The bracket is 80. And we've got targets of 40 and 80. And they're actually small targets, but even though it could move 100 ticks, 200 ticks, you see very fast reversals on this trade. On a trade that has the potential for very fast reversals, if you're not greedy on your targets and you get a nice burst on the target, you might get filled on both of them and you could be out of the trade with a sweet profit before your reversal even takes place. If you have giant targets, you might be waiting for the target and then the reversal starts, or you might just not get there and the reversal starts. I find that it's not bad to be less greedy on this type of a report. The stop on the full NQ is 80. If I was trading this on MNQ, I would use a 250 tick stop. It's 50 cents a tick. And then I will label this breakout NQ. Set the time to 0. Taking a look at the bracket, the management of the bracket. See, that's a little big. We just made new highs before this news. So that's our brackets. We have to just change the time back. Change the time back to 13:59:59. Apply it, okay it. So our breakout is ready. And you can also create an NQ or an MNQ reversal continuation for after the news. add a second strategy, reverse continue. Right now I'm going to do one position, 100 ticks on the target, 100 ticks on the stop. No, I'm on NQ. I'm going to do it on 50 on the stop. But I'm concentrating on the ES, honestly. That's what I'm concentrating on. But that would be NQ, reverse continue. Now, Nitin is making an interesting and a good piece of advice. You might have your platform set in a way you can get out of a trade. Now, I'm just like I said, I'm just watching the NQ. You can always turn it on live after the news. So the main thing really is not the reversal continuation, but the breakout on the NQ. That's the main area of interest to see how it behaves. So one more time on the setups. The ES trap. One more time on the setup. Nice pullback off the high, by the way. Activate at 13:59.55. Stop of 25. 32 and 55 on the tiers. 32 and 55. Make sure you choose the account that you're trading in. And label the trade Trap ES. Okay, looking at a couple of previous moves. So we looked at June, May. Um, is Trump tweeting? Is there a meeting somewhere? Is there a meeting somewhere? Because there's comments coming through. Seems like, all right. I'm not sure they're tweets or if there's an interview somewhere. So going back to May, ES in the middle. NQ, MES on the left, MNQ on the right. Now you can do an MES on this as well. Same tiers. And I would use, I'm just curious to see if I can tell what we used. I may not be able to tell, maybe. On MES, we used the stop of 75. It's $1.12 a tick. That's a pretty big stop. I'd probably use a 50 stop if I was using the MES. Maybe even a 50 is a pretty big stop. All right, so we have 5 minutes. Watching the markets. The markets just made new highs before the news. I'm trying to figure out where these comments are coming from. I hear Fed will cut rates in September. Negotiating with India right now. Man. All right, let's look at just for fun. Way back in November. What did it look like way back in November? Way back in November, we were doing just breakouts, no traps, no traps. And it was kind of quiet in November, choppy, not a good breakout on the NQ or the MNQ. There's no question the breakout is difficult on this report. It's definitely difficult on this report. I'm tempted. I want to be on a account that hasn't been used. So I want to go to 18. So forgive me. I'm just setting up my software on an account that hasn't been used today. I want to see exactly what happens here. And then our trap. Makes no difference. All right, we've got 2.5 minutes. Makes no difference what. It makes no difference. One of the greatest songs by the band ever written. It makes no difference. Sung by Rick Danko. Really, really beautiful song. All right. 2 minutes, 10 seconds. They are not going to raise rates. They're certainly not going to raise them. If they cut them, I think the world would be in shock. But like I said, there's not even a remote chance, I don't believe, that Jerome Powell would cut the rates. I think he would die first. Right? So just watching the markets. Now, make sure that your charts are spread properly apart on the trap trade so that you see all your orders. You want to make sure you see the two tiers above. You want to make sure that you see the stops and your orders. So there is some sort of an event. Remarks are concluded. Now, should a trade be out of control and you see a gigantic profit, don't forget if you're out of control and you just don't know what's going on. Worst case, You can always press the close button, especially if you see a giant profit. It's not the preferable way to trade. Okay, there's our orders. The news is out. No change. No surprise. We may have no response. I mean, this is the kind of week it's been where nothing has responded. So we're getting virtually a nothing response. It's a nothing response. Now, I will only wait a minute. I will not wait any longer. Right now, the ES is bullish. And if we don't get a fill, I mean, really, this is just even the NQ. You're at the highs. You might not want to necessarily trade this, folks. You might want to wait for earnings. I'm going to wait for earnings. There's nothing here. Yeah, it's been a minute, and it's just not a very big response to the news. I would cancel. I hate canceling. I hate it. But I'm canceling the breakouts. You still have your reverse continuations on the charts. No surprise, really, that it wasn't much of a result. It just, it's as expected. The markets have been just exploding on their own. I'm definitely disappointed we didn't get a giant burst, but we didn't. We just didn't get a burst. So we're now a minute and a half after the news, and we're still in, this weird little range that the ES has been in all day. Now, maybe everyone's waiting on the news conference, in all honesty. Now the market is going down. You could have, if you left the breakout on, you'd have a short that might have worked. And right now the trap would be filling you long. But I don't like taking a trap when it's not a burst, especially this type of news, especially this type of news. All right. Now I'm not going to chase the short now. That was a good short to take, Chantal. That was a good short to take. It's at the pivot. It might stay there for a bit. Yeah, Trump said he heard the Fed will cut in September. Everybody heard that, right? That's what they're saying, that they're going to cut in September. All right. So look, I mean, it's not that there wasn't a move. It's just that there wasn't a move for our setup. The trap, it really wasn't the right kind of move for the trap. The breakout, you would have had to wait longer than we normally wait. So it is what it is, folks. It is what it is. Good for you, Doc. There was a good short there. There was a good short. All right. I want to thank everyone for watching on YouTube. Not much craziness today. Thanks for watching, and keep an eye. Hit the notification bell so you know the next time we're streaming. And we'll see you next time on YouTube. Thank you for joining with us. And we are streaming tomorrow. No, you know what? I think this is our last stream of the week. But hit that notification bell so you know. If we change our mind, you'll be the first one to know. Take care on YouTube.